And take two. We really just do this for Greg. We love you, Greg. We miss you, Greg. He misses us. Fuck Portland. I'll text him every once in a while. I'm like, hey, guess what? They're closing down Portland. Time to come home. It didn't work. It sucks.
He and I have been unfolding the mysteries of the center of the earth over the past week.
Really? Is that how has he been a big help with it?
Yeah, he's been great. Sent me a pretty neat BBC documentary I went through.
Yeah, Jen was, like I said, she's big into, I love conspiracy theories and I love the whole ancient artifacts and that whole thing, but she definitely drank the Kool-Aid with getting into it, and she's like, there's this guy from World War II that flew his plane into a cauldron up in Antarctica or some shit.
I've read about this.
And I'm like, it's really what it comes down to. It's just some dude that wrote it in his diary and then died. I'm like, that would be so awesome. For me to do that, write some bullshit down in a diary, swear up and down, die, but leave it for everyone to find.
This is like, what, dragons and cave monsters, you know? And that caveman probably was like, I've never seen one of these, but wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah. But they're always uncovering old ancient drawings and stuff. So here we are at it again. I was trying to not always go from the guard. I was determined not to triangle you. And then eventually I'm like, I'm just going to fucking triangle. So
I was actually glad that you didn't stay out of the guard, because one of my goals going into this week was a guard pass.
Okay.
Because the last time we rolled, I knew nothing about the technique for getting through a guard. I never even thought about moving for side control before moving into a mount.
Yeah.
And
you were a lot more of a chess player. You're moving away from checkers, and that's the one thing. Like, because I know you're naturally strong, so is there a tendency for you just to try to bully your way through things?
I think it gives me flexibility to experiment sometimes.
Yeah.
There's elements that I'll go for that I think maybe I don't know the technique, but I'll find it because I can push.
Yeah. And I definitely noticed, like, right away I could just be like, yeah, he's thinking through this a lot more. He's definitely watched some YouTube videos and studied. And because you definitely have that mindset. And I've had a few people tell us about me. Like, I can sit there and I'll watch a video how to do something, and, that was cool right there. It might not be perfect, but I have the mentality, I'm like, I saw it, fuck it, I'm going to try that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can start to learn how to do it. But
yeah, I've been doing a lot of the same, just kind of YouTube University.
Dude, I have a little notebook. I sit here and take notes, and as long as you still have live sparring time to actually work it,
right,
you can really make it happen. I think especially with grappling, I don't know, it just seems to click better.
Well, that's what I'll end up doing a lot of times. I'll watch a video a couple times, then I don't have anyone to practice with at home, but I will roll on the floor, kind of like, shadow grappling, I guess is what.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I work on moves and stuff like that. I kind of like we at one point during one of our breaks here, me and Ryan talked just about like an open conversation about strategy when you're grappling, and I always set goals for myself. Depending on who I'm grappling and what I want to do, certain moves I studied. And my overall goal tonight was to try new moves, try different things. Like you saw, I went for ankle locks. I was trying to go for a gogoplata when I was choking with my shin. Different things like that. Really start to okay, I know arm bars, I know triangles. Try to start to use force myself to break out of that mold. Here I was doing knee on sternum, doing a neck crank. Because I feel like if you don't get out of your comfort zone, I mean, obviously, if you don't, you're not going to improve. You have to, jump into deep water.
Well, so over the course of the 3 or so kind of bouts that we had in here, this knee on the sternum and a neck crank, I think the first couple times you applied it was sloppily applied, and I didn't really feel the effect of it. It was uncomfortable that my neck was turned.
Yeah.
It limited my mobility, but I didn't. Other than that, it didn't affect me too much.
Yeah.
But the last time, at the very end, we'll see it, when you set it in, it actually made it difficult for me to breathe.
Yeah.
It significantly impacted my ability to bring the fight to you.
Yeah, because what I'm doing, I'm compressing your chest, and it's like one of those things where it's like, hey, you may get the tap from it, but if you don't, you're still in a really good position. You exhausted this guy. He's more sore now. Not everything has to be... I know I overuse this saying, it takes a lot of crumbs to make a piece of bread. I say that way too much, but I feel it's very true. We definitely need a camera guy. I should teach Danny. I know, it's killing me, but we can't help it.
And then something happened over here.
This is where we actually started doing chi blasts. You can't see them, but I promise you, we were using the power of chi. Me and Greg talked about doing these spoof videos one time where we like take it real seriously and we chi blast stuff and we set up where like glass cracks and everything. This is where I just go for, I say fucking, I just go for a triangle. I was cheating myself. Because it's funny, so like I got you to tap there, but in my mind I'm like, fuck Dan, come on. Like you, whoop-de-doo, you got a triangle, you fucking know how to do that, do something else.
But it was useful for me because afterwards, I don't know if it was after this first one or after I think it was after the second time we rolled, explaining how you set me up for the triangle.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see it in the last time, and Dan and I have grappled a couple times before when we were younger.
Yeah.
But I fall for triangle chokes. And
yeah, we discussed, yeah.
Figured out why I fall for them all the time.
Yeah. And I always, you know, it's just like, I always have like, just like I said, you got to have a plan, and you go into it, and you always got to be able to adjust that plan and see, just like playing chess or like anything, like what roads can I take? Like I'm always thinking like I could do this, I could go that way with it. You know, holy shit, get the fuck out of here. Nothing is working. You're stupid. You know, stand back up. I was definitely pleasantly surprised by how much you could tell you've been stewing on this and have already advanced. You know, like seriously though, it's nice. You know what I mean? Instead of just, you know, not that last time you really did that bad. Like you still had a mindset, but you definitely there was this new plateau already reached.
It's good for me too. I mean, it gives me things to look for and try out. It also, this time, I think it's been 2 weeks since the last time.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
There's some things that I learned that I wanted to try tonight. That by the time I got into what I thought was a good position for, I realized I didn't understand the technique enough.
Yeah.
And one of them is flexibility. So I did watch a couple videos on omoplata, and I did watch a couple videos on setting me up for Kimuras. Yeah. And there were a couple times I went for the Kimura, and one time I thought about going for an omoplata with you. Yeah. But I realized that I had the wrong leg in the way to be able to spin out, and I don't have the hip flexibility for it.
That's one thing in the earlier videos for Punch Drunk. I would always bitch about my flexibility in my hips. And I actually, every day, stretch for 10 minutes, and I just do a lot of hip stretches. I'll stretch other muscles, because why not? But dude, it makes things so much easier. But to talk about like work and moves, one thing is, and I got one tonight, is a hip toss. And I really, because it's one of those things that when I'm locked up here, I feel it, and I sense it. And when I was at Open Mat, the other weekend, the one person I was training with, you know, they're less experienced, and I could do a bunch of hip tosses. And I had time to where I could really sit there and get the feel for it. And like, here's another example. I'm like, I know leg locks, but I need to start going for them more.
I've tried them with, you've seen how awful I am when I try and apply them. You do them to me, and I know that, you know, like, coming into this, like the first time, like I guess 2 weeks ago, really, I don't know enough about joint manipulation to view anything other than the neck as a valid target.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
And then coming into this week, I was like, okay, I know a little bit more about shoulder and elbow manipulation, and I know, and you've gotten me in tight ankle locks. You got me in a knee lock towards the end. Yeah. And I'm just trying to branch out into that too, where when I have that loose leg, thinking about instead of re-engaging you and trying to go back into your guard, falling back and taking the leg instead.
Yeah. One thing you want to do is grab the toes. It's like, you know, look at my hand here. If I grab the wrist or like grab the forearm, I can resist the wrist. But as you go up, this is easier to torque. It's the same thing with the toes. When I got you, it's probably gonna be off camera because it was down to the right. But I actually, the way I got it is I grabbed your toes like this, versus say I grab here or here. Here I get more leverage. So, and that's one thing, honestly, I learned from YouTube. I mean, there's so many, I have to send you the links. It was the one is like Stephen Kesting, and the one's like Robinson or something.
You do YouTube shout outs for who you study from?
I'm sorry?
You do shout outs for who?
I could, I guess.
I don't know.
I'd have to look.
I wasn't
going
to drop a name until you started saying who. But
Yeah.
actually, I've gone through a couple different guys' videos, and the guy that I like watching the most is Kurt Osiander.
Okay. Yeah.
He does. I guess he has people email in or leave comments for what they want to see, and it's a lot of escapes, right? Because a lot of these guys are sport guys, so they probably get locked up and they want to escape.
Yeah. This is where I go for the shin choke. No, I don't know. But I'll go ahead.
Those shin chokes are other than the fact that I'm probably a little stupid in the amount of pain I'll endure.
Not to cut you off, but this is submission before position right here. So I just keep. I have double wrist control here, and I don't really have much position, but I kept working it. But I'm sorry. Go ahead. So.
Well, no. What I was gonna say is with those like shin chokes that you're going.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get them up around my jaw. Sometimes you get them around my
Yeah.
neck. And I was feeling it, and I have a habit of pushing through more pain than I probably should when we're just rolling. But they're super effective. I mean, they hurt like the devil, and you feel your jaw, the joint of your jaw saying, "This is no good. Stop this."
We could be in a hot bath right now.
You know, you're in Das Boot, and all the alarms are going off.
Yeah. What's up, baby? Alright, well, we're just doing something. I'll be right back, okay? Alright, baby. Mine will be home soon. So anyone that's our 4 fans, you know, or my kids constantly will jump in. So, but it's part of it.
But yeah, so the Kurt Osiander videos, like I said, that's primarily what I watch. The way he rolls through them, I enjoy.
Yeah.
He's got kind of a no bullshit approach to it. There's some things he doesn't explain, which to a novice like me,
Yeah.
I'm glad that he just says you shouldn't even let yourself be in this position.
Yeah, and it's whenever I watch videos, it's extremely rare that I watch anything like more than 5 minutes. You know, like when I'm actually studying, I'll watch videos that are like 5 minutes long at most. Like, here's the move. You don't need to discuss all the other avenues of it. Just show it, and I'm good to go. And it's only when I'm drunk and it's late at night that I'll put like the 20-minute video on and just sit there and stare at it and, you know, things like that. Sorry, everybody, for the fact that you just see Ryan's tootsie toes right now.
I feel like we're getting close to...
Where the ankle lock happens? I don't know.
Depends what... No, okay.
But, so that's the one thing, like, I find as long as I keep the videos short, like, how to escape an armbar from this position, and just the facts, not the rambles. You get some videos where they talk about too many different what-ifs.
Variations.
Just, this is how you do it. Well, I can... Look at the good shot. Like, I can live roll this. I'm good to go. I'll figure everything else out with experience. Like, I don't need the ramble. And then sometimes... So that's one thing I liked right there. You were doing really good dropping levels, and it made me have to think about something else. You just weren't all up here.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things I'm still feeling out is where my comfort zone is for engagement, right? I mean, standing, bearing down, right? It's nice. It feels safe. My feet are underneath of me.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I might feel more comfortable going from the knees, even if I've got somebody above me, because I can either roll back or roll forward without thinking about a fall.
Yeah, you mean like shooting in and going for the
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you're aware of how to do it without just getting choked out in a guillotine like Justin does. Sorry, Justin, when you watch this, but it's true, dude. You just freaking give the neck. Yeah, like, cause that's one thing I was thinking. Like, you had a really good agility to kind of change levels, and it made me have to think like, yo, is he just gonna like ankle pick me out of nowhere? But I'm thinking like, well, I'll just choke him and I'll just go for the neck. As long as you know and study how to avoid that, depending on, you know, everyone, there's so many different takedowns you can do. So you don't need to get into minutia of it. But hey, this is the takedown. I'm gonna work the double leg. This is how I avoid getting choked out when I do the double leg. Go for it. You know, like, you know, you definitely. So towards the end, when I let you work a bit more, I was like, oh, this is like, I kind of felt like freedom. I'm like, oh, here I am, and I got to be in all these different positions without caring. And I was happy too that you worked from the guard, because a lot of people I grapple with just don't work from the guard.
Well, I think that's part of the way you grapple too. Is you like to be in guard, so you don't give people the opportunity to. Not that you should, but it was one. I was actually happy to have the opportunity because most of the time it seems like you'll fall down.
Yeah.
Because you know you're comfortable from the guard.
And I'm really trying just not like here. I did a curl. I'm really trying very hard not just to always work from the guard because I gotta learn like sure neon sternum. I'm probably gonna go for a neck now. That's where I go for the arm bar. It's a shame because the one where it's gonna be out of view, where I get in that one arm bar where I actually like shin choke you just to get the arm bar.
Yeah. I might be into you actually because we were right up behind the couch when you were shin choking me. We were like right over in here.
But that's one thing like I realize I just can't always grapple from the guard. Like some guys will be like I do guard. That's what I do. There's this one guy like Marcelo Garcia. He's like supposed to be like God's gift to grappling, which he is. He's a phenomenal grappler. But he only does moves, and he even says this, that would work on anybody. Like certain types of chokes and everything. He doesn't do like muscle moves at all.
Right.
If it's a muscle move, or if he feels it's a muscle move, he doesn't do it.
This is that sloppy ankle lock I was going for where I didn't know what I was doing.
We'll have to work on that.
Well, I was in the wrong spot. You know what? I noticed what you were doing afterwards. Your foot should be under my armpit.
Yeah, and you could go for an ankle lock here.
I know,
you
but
go for a figure four.
You see what I was doing? I was
really
trying to lock it. I was using my legs to try to lock your knee and then just torque your ankle.
When in doubt, stabilize in a position and twist something.
Well, that's what I was trying.
You were trying.
It was just ineffective. And then you countered, and that's when I realized what I did wrong. You can just see it on the camera as you rolled back. I realized, your foot's supposed to be under my armpit.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm supposed to use to torque.
How was the pressure on I'm doing an ankle lock here. Not that you can see it. How'd that feel, the ankle lock? Would you feel pressure on it? Yeah.
No, it feels locked in. Every time you get me with the ankle lock, I feel compelled to immediately start spinning.
Okay.
When it sits in.
Yeah. I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's like Marlon. I think Greg's friend.
Oh, Marlon, yeah.
Best cameraman we ever had for this, and best guy to sit and do a commentary with. He doesn't really know much about this, and he'd sit there and he would think of these things. He'd be like, well, hey, I want to ask you something. What were you thinking during that? And it was like, that's a really good question, dude.
Marlon's a cool guy.
I don't know. He's freaking awesome. I didn't hit him up tonight because it wasn't as big of a night, and it's a school night, but next Sunday we're having a barbecue, so I'll hit you up. Well, next Sunday I'm having a barbecue.
Check
the
old schedule.
Yeah. And you know how me and Jen are, just swing on down. We're pretty open-ended about stuff. So we watched, don't worry, we'll get better camera work. You get to see a hip toss at some point, I promise. It's amazing.
Might be too far.
No, because remember you hit the heater.
I did hit the heater.
Yeah, I was being a homeowner. I'm like, Dan, you're breaking your heater. Hold on, we're both on our phones right now. It's not like you're watching anything.
Scheduling the barbecue for the 18th.
Oh, Jen's just gonna be home late. We should better be making money. This is where we roll, and eventually when we get over to the corner, I forget exactly what happened, but I was going for the arm bar and he wasn't giving it up, so I jammed my forearm or my shin into his throat.
Oh, but that was over there, yeah. That was up against the wall.
Yeah.
One of the things I can do, I don't know what I was saying.
Oh, yeah, we might see it here, yeah.
One of the things I can do, but I don't react to it quickly enough, is when you go to get side control, right? Like you did at the beginning of this little skirmish we've got going on. When you go to get side control, you do it with such an intensity that I could throw you right as you do it.
Yeah.
But I wait too long. I wait until you already sit back down.
Yeah, we didn't see it there, but I got the arm bar. That's just one thing that comes with experience. That's just like how eventually I start getting hip tosses. It's just experience and timing and things like that. And there's one time a video with me and Greg, and he was guard jumping the whole time. And at one moment I saw him guard jump and I just went, it's like figure skating. And I chuck him across the room. And that's one thing where it's rare for me to grapple anyone my size and about 3 weeks ago I got to, and I'm like, all these fucking moves work. I'm like, I can muscle you around.
Well, I was hoping
prison.
I was hoping that Floyd would come out, and I'm gonna tag him on this video to remind him that he didn't come out. But Floyd, I've never grappled with Floyd, but I hear that he's quite the force to be reckoned with. And
Has he trained much?
He hasn't, but you know what he's got for him? He is athletic.
Yeah.
He's a strong guy. He's very, very limber, and he's got extremely long limbs.
Okay.
So he can wrap, he can reach. And again, I've never grappled with him, but I know he's like I said, he's athletic. I mean,
Yeah, I'm all about it.
and I really want him to come out.
Come down into my basement.
It would be all the parts of all the parts of Greg's physicality that make it difficult to grapple, right?
Yeah.
Plus some, because Floyd's taller, Floyd's lankier.
Yeah, and Greg has a different mentality. That's why I like grappling him. Greg's not really, because he wants to get back up and strike.
Well, Greg's. I mean, to put it simply, Greg's a martial artist. I mean,
Yes. So for him, when he grapples and he trains grappling with the mindset of like, I'm just doing this to have a train to get back up and punch you in the face again. So it's very different, and I enjoy it because it's this completely different mentality.
I think this is where we found out why I fall for.
Yeah, we're
triangles.
Talking about triangles here, and I realized it was better just to show you how I do it from my position. Sometimes I get turned around. It's like tying shoes.
One of the things that was good about this, we don't take a lot of timeouts like this to kind of go through technique, but as we've mentioned a couple times, I don't have anywhere near the training in grappling. I have no training in grappling, no jiu-jitsu experience.
No, you got a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I fall back to a safe, what I call my safe space, right? When I'm on my back and I don't know what's going on, or even when I'm trying to push into Dan's guard. And like I said, I only recently started experimenting with guard passes. If my elbows are tucked in and my hands are pressed up under my chin, then I feel safe, because I know it's going to be difficult to put a choke around me at that point.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to manipulate one of my arms at that point. And Dan shows it on me, and we're in a bad position for the camera, which we didn't think about.
Marlon!
Bastard. But here, Dan has me work with him. Dan shows me a couple of ways to prevent it from happening.
Yeah,
but what happens is...
I think we're supposed to do guard breaks. Anyway, keep going.
What happens is, when I'm over top of Dan pushing into his guard, he'll work one of my arms back, and the way he works it back underneath of one of his legs is by pushing it through what I consider my safe space. So when he tucks my elbow and he presses my forearm against my body, it doesn't set off any of the alerts for a triangle choke is about to happen, you should adjust. What it says to me is, oh, I'm in my safe space, I don't need to take action at this point. So a little bit of, for me anyway, a little bit of mental retraining needs to take place.
Yeah.
So that as soon as Dan or somebody else goes to press me into the triangle, I'm aware of what's going on and I react appropriately.
And that's one thing that helped me grappling Greg. It's hard to describe, because while he doesn't go heavy for submissions, you just gotta be. It's almost like, because he's always just trying to like, this is what you're doing. I want to get out. I want to get away from this. You're just very aware. And through grappling him, it gave me like a better overall, just kind of awareness of what's occurring while I'm going through these motions. That's one thing I noticed, that grappling Greg could help me. Because I'm always trying to figure out how the fuck to get him back to the ground. I'm just always aware of all this little minutia. So here, this might be the last.
Going into this is.
Yeah, this is where I get the hip toss to somebody. This is where I was trying to think I roll you. I love doing this. It's one of my favorite moves, to roll people. It wasn't slow.
So this is where we did a little bit more work towards the end of this.
Yeah. So I go knee on sternum. I think I actually get you with a tap at one point with it.
Well, that's at the end.
Yeah.
That's the
Imagine
last
if you did
tap.
it. Big ass motherfucker, if you took your knee and put knee on sternum, oh my
I know it's
god.
something to think about.
Yeah, like.
Well, like I said, I mean, this is kind of the evolution, right? Like,
yeah.
For me, because I didn't know really what I was doing to get through somebody's guard, I never thought about side control as a valid option. And now that I know side control is a valid option, now that I have a little bit of my head about me, how
sorry, I grabbed your toes right there. That was it.
Oh, this is where he's going. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So right before I slapped Dan on the ass, I felt my knee pop. I couldn't get my hand out fast.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. I couldn't get my hand out fast enough to tap before he really wrenched on it.
That's one thing that's actually like a good thing to discuss is like tapping etiquette. I rolled with someone recently where their elbow can actually bend farther past. Like honestly, that's it for me. I'm showing Ryan my elbow right now. Like you start to torque it, I feel it. Well, their elbow actually naturally goes further than that. And so when you go to put them in an arm bar, it feels weird. Because you go cinch it, it starts bending at a weird angle, and they're still grappling. So you bend it more, and all of a sudden that person was like, yo, tap, 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 tap. And they're like, yo, you gotta be careful. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, hey. I'm like, does your elbow bend weird? And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I can like really let it bend far before I gotta tap. I'm like, and it was like, Sharon, this weird thing. Maybe you should let me know that your elbow is a freak elbow. Because I was actually getting confused. I'm like, am I not doing it right? Because in the roll and in the mix, I actually thought I was bending it naturally where it would bend in the way an elbow does. Because we were rolling at the time.
Dan's discussing illegal sport judo techniques that he likes to use when we're rolling.
For pussies. If you notice, I did a lot of. Well, that's right, because it was in the corners.
He's talking knee on sternum,
knee in the cheekbone, you take your knee when you're in the guard, a loose guard. You take the cheekbone, you press it down to your knee.
What you won't see on the camera is the fantastic bruise that I have under my right cheekbone from a volley of knee into the cheekbone choke or attempted submissions that Dan had. But they do wear you down. They give you something to think about.
It's just if you get that weak bitch that doesn't like pain, they're gonna tap to it. You know what I mean? And one thing you could work on is just I put you in my guard. Take your elbow and take my head. Let me see how I do this.
We're
take your elbow, jam into my orbital. Now grab the back of my head. And then, oh yeah, dude, like that right there. Oh, that sucks. And things are gonna start getting crushed.
Well, this is actually the point that what Dan just illustrated and ran me through a little bit is like if I'm trying to get through his guard or get out of his guard, is to take one of my elbows, reach with the opposite hand, and press that elbow into his cheek, just below the cheekbone, pulling his head from the back, causing pain to break out of the guard. And it goes back to tapping etiquette, right? I mean, a thumb in the eye is going to make you let go. I'm not going to do that. There's the hip toss.
I'm sorry.
Knowing the boundaries of the people you're rolling with is kind of important. It's tough to feel out.
And that's kind of what I was bringing up about that one person, because they had like a freaky flexibility to their elbow joint, and
Is this where you go for the? No, you already did the leg lock.
Yeah, I did the hip toss. I'm sorry to so fanboy for my hip toss. I apologize. I think it's where the last thing I get you with is the neck crank. Yeah. But what I was saying is it's because I got him once with an arm bar. I'll get you one in a second, but we're almost done. Like I got him with an arm bar once. It was a really weird angle, and I thought like I was just bending their elbow in the proper way that it's supposed to bend, and eventually they tapped, and it was just weird. So then we're rolling again, and we're like in this scramble, and I'm working it. And I even told the person, I'm like, dude, like, I apologize, but I thought your elbow was literally just going the normal way it's supposed to go, like, if you're doing a curl. And all of a sudden, they're like, they show the secret of how much their arm can bend. And I'm like, dude, it's kind of freaky. I really thought I was bending it the right way.
I mean, short of the guy that grabs my arm and jumps off of a step stool to submit, I feel like most of the time it's my responsibility to make sure as I get locked in, if I feel like I'm going to be in a position to be injured, that I tap.
I kind of feel, and like that's the one thing. I had a bad experience once, and it's too much of a story to get into with only 2 minutes remaining, where someone didn't tap. It was a different situation than just a rolling class, and someone had to go to the hospital.
Pass out with.
It was like day 2 in the fleet of the Marine Corps, and I had to go fight a senior guy, and he got too prideful. And they actually had to
I know another guy that
his heart's like they actually like he technically like his heart wasn't beating anymore, and they had to freaking resuscitate him in front of me. So that's why, like, I kind of get upset when people are like, it's like, dude, fucking tap. Like if you're in a situation that's not good, like, tap, because I don't want to hurt anybody. You know, I just want to be able to keep rolling. So I think I gave the neck crank at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying. So you applied it several times over the course of what we were doing, and on that last one, it hit just perfectly. And I think it actually had to do with, from the way it felt to me, it wasn't so much the neck crank. You had me lower on my neck, and you were actually bending my chest.
Yeah.
So the neck crank hurts, right? The neck crank, it sucks.
Okay.
It distracts me. It limits my mobility.
Yeah.
But if you reach further down on my neck
Yeah.
and pull more like you're pulling from my shoulders almost, it compresses my chest. Because that last one, I couldn't breathe. All the other ones were uncomfortable. And
So
as
that's what I've actually, when I've studied it, that's what I've heard also.
As I said, that, you know, and that bruise on my face is testament to the discomfort isn't going to stop me from trying to press through.
Yeah.
But on that one, as soon as you did it, it just pulled my breath. Like, it took my breath away, so to speak. Right?
Oh, here comes my kids.
Without thinking back to it, I imagine that you had me a little bit lower around the neck when it happened.
Wait, okay, suck at this. That's okay for fun. Here, because I'm gonna do a Facebook.
We're taking
we're taking selfies right now. So here's my kids playing, because why not? But I really gotta say, like, overall, we got a few minutes left here. I'm really happy. I just reference it as punch drunk kung fu and karate. It's actually really, like, slowly growing to something of quality, you know, and I gotta thank Greg for that, because, you know, he actually, I was telling him about all these different grappling techniques I've been studying, and he's, dude, next time I'm up there, you just go all out, you know, like, whatever dirty move you want, because Greg's just a masochist and ready to do whatever, because he really has a passion for martial arts.
Well, one of the things too with Greg's technical mind, like I said, that, you know, a while ago we're all hanging out partying. We got into a grappling match. Yeah. I was grappling with Dan, and Dan threw me into a triangle choke, and it was the first time I'd ever experienced it, and it threw me for a loop. I had no idea what to do to try to get out of a triangle choke. And the next day, I called up Greg. This is years ago.
He told me about this.
The next day, I called up Greg. I was like, "Hey, listen, man. You know, I was grappling with Dan. Dan got me in a triangle choke. I was like, I wonder if I could come by and we could roll for a little bit, and you could show me some escapes to a triangle choke."
Yeah.
And I went over, and me and Greg rolled for a little bit in his garage to try and sort it out.
He straight up loves it, and it's an amazing thing. And I mean, I definitely have as much love for it as he does. It's just Greg is just very more kind of, I'm wild, he's more regimented. Even though he's wild in the sense of, like, Greg, want to fight with some rebar? And he'll be like, yeah.
Never done that before.
Yeah, let's fight with some fucking rebar, dude. I got up some pots and pans too. So I really like, I know we're a small group, but I don't know, I like what we're doing. And I think it's gonna, not that it has to grow into something, not that we have to set a goal for it, but really in the long run, it's gonna turn into something good. I think I'm gonna actually start a Facebook group page for it.
Okay. Just
so whoever they know, like, hey, you know, like, whoever's trained, like, and Marlon, because he's the best cameraman ever. I'll be like, hey, Punch Drunk Kung Fu and Karate, just a page. Not that we have to be that active on it, but anytime there's a discussion about getting together for training, here it is. We can all discuss it, when to meet up, what we want to do, things like that, just to make it easier instead of me, like, just messaging everybody. So
it works too. I mean, it's nice too, because during the week when people are thinking of things, if they see something that really catches their eye, they can throw it up into the forum.
Yeah, things like that too. So thanks for watching my kids play with fire trucks, you creepers. That's weird. You should have shut off the video by now once the kids rolled out. But peace, motherfuckers.